On today's show, the Yankees won the series in Minnesota, but it wasn't because of strong starting pitching. In fact, the starters had a hell of a time against the Twins the past 3 days. We'll talk about it. Plus, the Yankees are welcoming the Chicago Cubs to the stadium this weekend. We'll look at pitching matchups. And 20 years ago today, something special happened at Yankee Stadium. We'll briefly discuss that. And Abby and I have stories involving games we attended between the Cubs and Yankees. Next on Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, Yankee fans. Happy Friday, June 10th, 2022. Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and I'm joined by my co-host, Abbey Mastracco. We'd both like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. Also hit the like button and the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live, and feel free to comment. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Yankees. Abby, it's been a week.
Stacey, what's going on in the baseball this week? Because I have been at the Garden, and I have been at a couple other practice rinks too, and I've been at the hockey.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the baseball this week?
You know, the Yankees starting pitching had such a strong run, and then these past 3 games against the Twins, freaking nightmare. But in 2 of those starts, the offense bailed out the starter. The one starter they didn't bail out was poor Nestor Cortes, who saw his streak end. There was some, I can't remember the exact record that he could have broken. I think he was 1 start away from doing that. And, you know, he was due for a game like that. But it was just sad to see that come to an end. And the offense couldn't do anything against Chris Archer and the rest of the pitchers that day. But
I saw a really funny tweet about Nestor the other day. He gave an interview and he was like, I'm 5'10" and I throw 90 miles an hour. You know, like who would have thought that I would be here? And somebody quote tweeted it, and it was like, yes, giving bear leaguers hope everywhere for our major league debut. That's right, buddy. The Yankees are calling you any second.
Yeah, poor Nestor. But it's fine, But we'll go through the numbers because Taillon, Cortes, and we'll get into Cole too because he had a really rough outing last night. Historically bad. Could have been a complete nightmare. And, I will say this. I feel like Twins fans were finally thinking, probably in the 3rd inning of last night, oh my God, we're finally going to win a series against the Yankees. And then the Yankees were like, at least the offense and the bullpen were like, nope, we're going to go back to the way it is. No, you're not going to get, no. So Taillon went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs with 4 runs on 9 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 1 home run. Cortes, 4 1/3 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. And then Cole, my God, started last night's game with back-to-back home runs. Only the 7th time in Major League Baseball history. And when you think about how long Major League Baseball history is, it's amazing that our $24 million man gave up 3 home runs in back-to-back at bats to start the game.
He's like what I love about Gerrit Cole sometimes is that he's the most dominant pitcher in baseball at times, but then when he's bad, he's really, really bad.
I mean, my God.
He gets lit so quickly sometimes, and it's not often. Look, he started the season bad, and people panicked, but for such a dominant pitcher, he can really just absolutely like have no concept of where the zone is sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
looks like his arm's dead and it'll be like one inning too. And then the next inning, it's like, oh, he's back to being Gerrit Cole. But like, there'll be times where he's on the hill and it's like, yeah, man, Gerrit Cole's pitching. Like, he's going to be lights out. Oh, no, like somebody left the lights on and his arm can't find the switch. Like,
I mean, he gave up 5 home runs last night. 5. And the Twins still couldn't win the game. And that's the other thing about last night's game. The Yankees and Twins combined for 9 home runs in Target Field, which is like, what? I joked, of course, about the balls being juiced again because some of the balls were, Gallo hit the crap out of his first home run. It really went far. And that's the other thing. Who were the heroes last night? Gallo and Hicks.
Yeah, I saw that, like, somebody, it was like oh God, what was it? I don't know, maybe it was like the Yes Network account or like I don't know, like an MLB, some sort of like MLB like highlights account. Somebody tweeted like, Aaron Hicks is so good at baseball. And it was like the reactions, the piling on of that tweet. Oh man.
Yeah.
I saw the tweet and it was like seemed innocuous enough. And I was like, Yankees fans are gonna have something to say about that. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. It is kind of funny. Both Gallo and Hicks went 2 for 5 with 3 runs batted in. Gallo's 2 were 2 home runs. Hicks was a home run and I believe a single. Rizzo had a big single. LeMahieu hit the 4th home run for the Yankees, which was also his 100th career home run. But it was kind of funny when it was 7-3 and it turned into 7-4 and then when it got to 7-5, you could feel the energy in Target Field change to where they were like, they're not doing this to us, are they? Like, they're really not going to do this to us this time. And they did. Let's talk about the bullpen briefly because after Cole was taken out of the game, thank goodness, after 2 1/3 innings of work, 7 runs on 8 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, those 5 home runs. Lucas Lecky, Miguel Castro, Wandy Peralta, Michael King, and closer Clay Holmes, which is what I will always refer to him as, went 6 2/3 innings, did not give up a run, only gave up 1 hit, walked 2, struck out 5 to bail out Cole and shut down the game. And I mean, that would be a great start for a starter, 6 2/3 with 1 hit and no runs. So what a weird game. And it feels like the Yankees and Twins usually have at least one game that's kind of like, what the hell is happening? There was that infamous 12-11 game in 2019 with Hicks making the diving catch at the end. And, the Twins had the bases loaded. They could have blown open the game and won on a walk-off. And Chad Green was like, when Hicks made the catch. And then he was also like, oh my God, thank God I didn't blow a game. So, yeah, that's what last night felt like. Yeah.
I was at the Garden last night.
Yeah.
Last night it felt like the Rangers were not going to win.
Yeah. I kind of felt that going into the game. I was kind of like, oh, doesn't feel right.
They spent too much time defending, so they weren't able. The Rangers were sort of like the anti-Yankees last night. Like
they couldn't get offense going.
They could not get offense going, and they kind of let up at the end of the game when it seemed like it was going to head into overtime, but look what happened with Tampa in Game 3. Palat in the last 40-something seconds. They're just like 2 meaningless shots through traffic. So like the Rangers were the anti-Yankees last night.
Yeah, that's sad. In a moment, we're going to preview the pitching matchups because the Cubs are coming into Yankee Stadium, which is always fun to see. And if we have anything else to say about this series against Minnesota, we will. But first, let's talk about LinkedIn Jobs. Because as the sun comes up and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want to interview faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb network. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb network to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We have an important favor to ask you. We've put together a survey so we can learn more about our listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcasts even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On podcasts. Go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes a survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. So, before we get into the Cubs thing, so the Yankees do what they usually do against the Twins. They win 2 out of 3. They're now 111 and 39 against the Twins.
Okay.
Since 2002. Regular season and playoffs combined. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And when you think about it, even if they lost last night, it would still be 110-40. So it's like, it's still complete domination there. Just crazy stuff. So as I said, the Yankees are welcoming the Cubs into the stadium. Your Yankees are 41-16. This is one of their best starts ever. And the Cubs are 23-33. They're not having a great season.
No,
not that people really expected.
I don't think anybody expected this as much as like their front office like to talk about somewhat of a quick retool last year when they dumped all their veterans at the trade deadline. I don't think anybody expected. This is the fan base. I don't think they expected it. And I've heard from some scouts too that like the Cubs minor league system is not very good, and their development processes are like not great. So I think all that, talk about a quick retool, quote unquote, maybe that's not the exact quote, but like that's how the organization made it sound. I think if fans were skeptical about that, they absolutely had a reason to be, because a lot of us in the industry were.
Right. So there are a couple of storylines coming in. Clint Frazier, who hasn't really played much as a Cub, is of course opening his mouth on the way into playing the Yankees and talking about things, because that's just the way he is. There's also a history with Marcus Stroman saying some things about the Yankees, especially when he was on the Mets. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
Stroman talks about everybody like.
Oh yeah. But you know how Yankee fans are when people talk about the
Clint
Yankees.
Frazier both have opinions, and I'm all for athletes expressing their opinions, using their platforms. I just don't think it should come as any surprise that Marcus Stroman and Clint Frazier have things to say.
Yeah. No, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah, about teams that one didn't play for, one played for, and one played for, a crosstown rival. And Stroman grew up in Long Island, like that's Mets town. Like, not surprised that they have anything to say.
Right. Clint Frazier was talking about the facial hair policy and not liking being told how to look, which is understandable. I have a love-hate thing with the facial hair policy. Part of me likes that they have it just because I don't like these guys whose beards are down to here and they look like they can house animals in their beards, and they just look gross to me. But
my ex-boyfriend got out of the army and grew this massive beard.
Oh, I could understand that though.
He it became a thing. He was like we were on vacation in Colorado and he was looking up beard tutorials on YouTube. And I was like at one point I just looked at him and I was like, no more effing beard videos. Like, we're on vacation.
Yeah.
Stop it. And it got to be we had a 20-minute conversation with a bartender up near Aspen about beard maintenance. And I was like, I'm sorry, like after this vacation, like we're not gonna talk about beards anymore. Like the beard became his like identity. He got out of the army and he had this identity of like he was beard man.
Yeah. I mean, especially like, the Yankees aren't as bad as the Army. They let you have some facial hair. Like the mustaches are fine. And they let you have, like, I mean, when you look at Gerrit Cole, they used to not allow guys to have hair like that. But I'm sure Gerrit Cole's like, I'm keeping my hair like this. Thank you. I'm not going to chop it off. Because, I mean, there was that whole thing with Mattingly and his mullet.
It doesn't look unkempt.
Right. Some guys do look unkempt, which is what I don't like.
Yeah.
Cole actually has a nice head of hair. Not as nice as Jacob DeGrom. I'm so jealous of Jacob DeGrom's hair, and I've said this many times. Tyler Glass now, I'm jealous of his hair. He has fabulous Disney prince hair. Just if a guy could have a beard on the Yankees that's close cropped and not looking like, a troll doll with a beard, like, that would be nice. But yeah, I feel like the Yankees are loosening up slightly, and that we might get to a point where you might actually see someone with a beard at some point, but not yet. It's not going to happen yet.
Like, I mean, nobody's going to go full, like, I don't know.
ZZ Top.
There was, at the game last night, there was one of the Jets offensive line. Oh, Nick Mangold.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Get the big beard and the hair.
Yeah.
And then last year at, when the Islanders were in the Eastern Conference Final against Tampa as well, like the whole Jets O-line came and they all were chugging beers, and there was one guy who had a mullet, and like the section over there of like the former Nassau Coliseum, like it just looked like such a party, but it also like it was so perfect for the Coliseum because when you step into the Coliseum, you thought it was still the 80s.
Oh yeah.
You felt there was a guy who lit up a cigarette in front of me in the press box last year. Like I was down in the auxiliary press box with two Swedish reporters and a scout from Tampa Bay, and we all just look at each other and we're like, what year is it in here? Because it really is a time warp. Then they show the Jets O-line on the big board, just chugging in this, and I don't remember which one, but he's got a fantastic mullet, and we were like, this is just so par for the course in this building, but also like he looks really fun. Like, can we go hang out over there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check some beers with some guys with mullets. They seem like, what do guys with mullets talk about? Like pickup trucks and football.
Now, speaking of beard and hair, Wade Miley is starting for the Cubs tonight against Luis Severino. Miley is 1-0 with a 3.38 ERA and 10 strikeouts. Luis Severino, 4-1 with a 2.95 ERA, 61 strikeouts on the season. The Yankees lineup is out. LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Donaldson, Torres, Hicks, Higashioka, Marwin Gonzalez. Interesting. Matchups against Miley. The person with the best numbers, Marwin Gonzalez, which is why he's playing. 17 at-bats, not a huge sample size, but compared to the other guys, it's one of the highest numbers. 412 with 1 home run and a run batted in. So there's your matchup for tonight. For tomorrow, let's see if they have everything up. I think they do. Yes, they do. Yay. Jordan Montgomery for the Yanks. Well, he doesn't have the highest starter ERA anymore, not after Cole's blow-up last night, because Cole is up to 3.63, and Jordan Montgomery is at his 3.02.
Oh, so bloated there.
Oh, my goodness. And he will be facing Matt Swarmer, who's 1-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Let's see how many games he's pitched, because it doesn't look like a lot. Okay, only 2 games started. He pitched against the Cardinals in his last start on June 3rd, went 6 innings, only gave up 1 run on 2 hits with 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, got the win. So that'll be an interesting matchup for the Yanks. And on Sunday, what's tomorrow's game? Tomorrow's a night game. Okay, it's a 7:15 start, which means it could be a Fox game. I didn't even notice that. And then Sunday is a 1:35 start. The Cubs do not have a starter listed, but it's Tyone. And we spoke about how Tyone did in his last start. Hopefully he will reverse that. and do better against the Cubs. And speaking of the Cubs, in segment 3, as I said, we will be talking about games that we've attended between the Yankees and the Cubs. I've only been to one, if I recall correctly. And it was a long-ass time ago. So, literally, really was. It was 17 years ago. But first, our next partner has a product I literally use every day. I started taking AG1 because I don't like taking pills. I would rather swallow a drink that I can just stir up that has a bunch of vitamins in it, and I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I've been on it since the beginning of March. I take it before my breakfast and my coffee, and I usually make sure I have it before I work out. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. It supports your gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging, everything I need. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's one scoop a day into a cup of water. That's it. No need for a million pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, AG1 is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. A lot of stuff happening in sports, a lot of things that you can bet on. You got basketball finals between the Celtics and the Warriors. You have all the hockey conference finals, and betonline.net is your #1 source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can find all the latest sports developments, news, and odds, including what I just mentioned, the finals, the conference finals, baseball, of course, and you can also find the latest fighting news from MMA and UFC to boxing. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So as I said, we're going to be talking about games that we attended between the Cubs and the Yankees. You can go first.
Me?
You can talk about the game that you attended.
It was Jeter's last game at Wrigley, which granted there weren't that many that he played at Wrigley, but it was in 2014. It was either his last or his second to last, but I believe it was his last because everybody got up and gave him a standing ovation at his last at bat. So it might not have been the last game for the Yankees in that series, but I believe it was his last game at Wrigley. Mm-hmm. So I was in Chicago with the Los Angeles Kings for the 2014 Western Conference Final. And one of the Fox Sports West broadcasters, or somebody who worked in production, and I worked for Fox Sports West at the time too, but I was in editorial, not in production. And somebody in production got a bunch of tickets to see the Yankees and the Cubs from like the first night that we were in town. And we had all but like a bunch of the media people had been talking about this for a week. We were like, oh, cool, the Cubs are in town. Like, let's all go to a Cubs game. So then the first night comes and like, I'm out with a couple other writers. We were like, nothing happened. Like the broadcast contact, like never contacted us. And then we start seeing on Twitter and on Instagram, like everybody's at this game, like all the Fox Sports West crew and like the Kings radio crew. And like, everybody was at this game. We're like, what the, nobody contacted. It was me, Elliot Tiford, who covers the Ducks now for the Orange County Register, and Lance Pugmire, who now covers Fight Sports, and 2 writers from Edmonton. And they were like we were the ones who like sort of initiated this group activity. We're like, let's go to a Cubs game. Let's all go to Wrigley. And somebody was like, oh, I've got a contact to get tickets. And then we didn't get tickets. So we felt very left out. Like, don't be that person. I get so sensitive when I'm left out of things. It's like, when you're a kid and you get left out, like you're the one kid, like not invited to somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
I get like, I still have that like weird feeling. So I always try to include everybody. Like, even if I'm like not super close friends with this person, but like if they're in like the extended part of the group, I'm going to include them because I don't want anybody to feel bad or excluded like we all did that day. So That game, the first game of the series, was a night game at Wrigley. It got rained out. There was a
Ah,
long rain delay, thunder delay. They're all sitting there, and it's the cheap seats in the outfield because there was such a large group. It got rained out. So the next day was I don't remember whether it was game 1 or 2 of the West Final between the Kings and the Blackhawks, but um, me, Elliot, and Lance decide after the mornings, it's a day game at Wrigley. We decide that after the morning skate, we're going to drive over to Wrigley and we're just going to see if we can get some last minute tickets. And we ended up getting him on like Craigslist. I think my friend Rachel came and met us. I think she was working for WGN at the time. So we got 4 tickets like off of Craigslist or something like that day of. And it was an absolutely perfect baseball day. It was like 75 with just like a little bit of a breeze. It was a Wrigley day game. And if you've never been to Wrigley, you've got to go during the day. Like the night games are cool and everything, but like that stadium's built for day games. And it's just such tradition for like they didn't have night games for a long time. They didn't have lights forever. So it was like just the most perfect baseball day. We got hot dogs and beers and we had insane seats. We had such great seats that we got for like nothing. Like I said, it was off of Craigslist or something like that. And like we had to like meet the guy and go get the actual physical tickets. He like lived in Wrigleyville and Elliot was trying to park the car. Lance was getting lost and I was like walking to meet Rachel and Rachel was like, she already had the tickets. She like knocked on this guy's door and got the tickets. We had like the best day. Jeter's last at bat, everybody was giving a big standing ovation. I can't remember who won the game. We just had a really great day, like watching baseball, though.
yeah.
And then we drove back over to the West End and we covered the hockey game. And when we got there, a bunch of the writers were like kind of were still talking about how they were so not the writers, the broadcasters. Well, I guess some of the writers too, because they had gone. But they were talking about how bummed they were that their game at Wrigley got rained out, and they were like, and the Cubs were leaving town. We had a few more days in Chicago, but the Cubs were leaving town. So me, Elliot, and Lance were like, oh, you got rained out? You got rained. We went today. We actually went today, and we had a perfect day. We saw Jeter's last at bat. Oh, we had the best day. And everyone's kind of like looking at us like, okay, shut up. And Patrick O'Neill, who is just like one of the nicest humans on the planet. He at the time he was doing stuff with the Kings. Now he is one of the play-by-play guys with the Angels. He's doing play-by-play with Mark Kubica. And he came over and he was talking to me and Elliot and Lance, and he's like, hey guys, I'm really sorry you weren't included in that ticket group last night. He's like, I don't know how that happened. I don't know who got the tickets. But I had assumed that you guys were coming. I'm really sorry that you weren't able to make it. And we're pulling out our phones, showing him. And he's like, oh man, like you guys got the good. I'm really, really sorry you guys didn't make it last night, but you guys got the better game. And he was like, kind of like whispering. He's like, hey, next time, call me. Next time, let me know. The group was too big. Like, and we had better weather luck. So
Yeah.
we had a really great day. And it was like, just like it was a perfect like work trip too. It was such a fun little, I don't know, it's such a fun little way to break up the, a long hockey work day and also rub it in everybody's face because we got left out and we got the better game.
Right. See, it's karma.
Mm-hmm. Don't leave people out.
Now, it's funny that you mention the Derek Jeter aspect of your game because there's a Derek Jeter aspect to my game as well.
Of course.
June 17th, 2005 at the old stadium. It was a Saturday game. It was a Fox game. And I was sitting in the left field bleachers. Now, if you're familiar with the old stadium, the left field bleachers was basically like you were sitting in Connecticut watching a game. You felt like you were so far away from everything because, you had Monument Park in front of you. You had it was ridiculous sitting back there. But Derek Jeter came up to bat. It's 3-1. And I realized the bases are loaded. And I joked right before the pitch. I said, Jeter, shut K up. For reference, Michael Kay would always talk about the fact that Derek Jeter had never hit a grand slam. And not that Derek Jeter was bad with the bases loaded. He had like a 342 or a 340. Like his batting average with the bases loaded was really good. He just never hit a home run because Derek Jeter wasn't really a home run hitter. He would hit them, but it wasn't, he wasn't like A-Rod. He wasn't hitting, 40, 50 home runs a year. I say, make K shut up. Next pitch, boom. And the stadium reacted as if he hit a walk-off home run. And I was sitting in front of a group of Cubs fans who were like, you guys are reacting like what is happening? Like this girl was like, you guys are acting like, he's never done this before. I'm like, well, he hasn't. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, this was his first Grand Slam. And she's like, what? Because Cub fans knew Derek Jeter. You would know him from playing in the playoffs and stuff, but it's not like they're paying attention to stuff like that. And she could not believe it. And I said, yeah. I said, he's not bad with bases loaded. He just never hit a home run. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I saw Derek Jeter's. She's like, I don't even care that my team's losing. This is so great. And it was funny. And it was cool seeing Cubs fans at Yankee Stadium because we didn't see that before then. That was one of the first times that
they travel.
Yeah.
I remember a series years ago at Dodger Stadium, and I was walking into the stadium early because we have to get there like 3-4 hours early for media.
Right.
And there was a family who was there like taking pictures all around the stadium. And Dodger Stadium has some cool views. If you're up on like the upper deck, you can turn around and see like all of downtown LA, Hollywood sign, on
General Hospital.
Yeah, on a very clear day. Usually it's not this clear though. There's usually smog and like fog out the ocean. Like you can maybe see the ocean sometimes.
Yeah.
There was a group of fans there who was like, they had a family with little kids, and they were already taking photos, and they'd like, I stopped and I talked to them, and they were like, yeah, we've got a group of like 4 other families coming for this game. And I was like, oh cool, do you guys all live in Southern California? And they're like, no, this was our vacation. We live in Wisconsin. I think a few of them lived in Illinois, but it was like 4 families that take a vacation together every year with their little kids. And that year it was Dodger State. It was LA. And I think they said they went to Disneyland too. They took the kids to Disneyland, but of course. They had like a group of like 20 something people, like wow, all in Cubs jerseys, and who had come. And there's a ton of transplants in Southern California anyway, so like the Cubs fans really travel. Like, man, I take my hats off to you guys because you guys really have a good showing on the road.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned Dodger Stadium because that ties into the thing I was going to talk about that I mentioned in the cold open. So, June 2nd, 2002, went to Dodger Stadium for the first and only time to see the Dodgers play the Diamondbacks. And my brother spent the entire time heckling the Diamondbacks bullpen because we were right next to it. So, flash forward a week and a day later, June 10th, 2002. The Diamondbacks are at Yankee Stadium. My brother is sitting in the left field bleachers right near the bullpen and heckling them again. And they really thought he was following them, but he wasn't. He just so happened to be there. So I mentioned June 10th, 2002, because on this day, Randy Johnson was pitching. And rookie Marcus Timms came to the plate because Juan Rivera was hurt. And on the first pitch that he saw from Randy Johnson, he hits a home run. And my brother loves telling this story because he said to his friend, if he throws dead red, he's hitting a home run. I feel it. And the home run traveled to left field, and my brother was like, what did I say? He's like, I told you it was going to happen. So happy anniversary to Marcus Timms. I can't believe it's 20 years. That's insane. Like, what? But happy anniversary. I mean, that's got to be, I know it happens to some guys, but and again, I mean, I know it's later Randy Johnson, but it was still Randy Johnson, a few months removed from a World Series win that he hit a first pitch home run against for his first home run in the majors. So that's pretty cool. So that's fun. We did not have shows on Wednesday and Thursday. I was under the weather this week, and as you can tell from my pale face, I still am. But I'm gonna do
doing hockey content.
I am going to do a couple of shows this weekend. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do something live on YouTube so you can see how I react to Yankee games. I don't know if I want to let you into that world yet, or if I just do shows talking about what happens tonight, doing a recap, previewing the game for tomorrow. We'll see how I feel, but look out for that. You're going to have 2 shows on the weekend. ooh, because all the other channels do it. So, why not? I have nothing better to do. It's not like I go out, so I might as well just keep recording shows.
You should go out.
I know. I should, but do I want to be around people? No. So that's it for this episode of Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Abby and I would like to remind you that you can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, like, comment, hit the bell notification. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On MLB. Make your second listen of the day Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully because he's from Boston, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. One more thing, if you could be so kind, please rate the podcast and spread the word about this podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We'd really appreciate it. Enjoy your Friday and enjoy the weekend if you're not around, but if you are around, I'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Enjoy the weekend. Go Rangers. Go Dubs.